Hello everyone, my name is Enza and welcome back to Spiral into the Void. This video is a continuation of my last video, but also can just be a video on its own. It's just about being present in your healing, so I really hope that you guys enjoy this. And this is me from the future. Peace out. So, back to what I was saying. We have to be present in our healing. When it comes to healing, if we aren't present in it, we tend to go back to our old ways because it feels too overwhelming. So the point of actually healing is to sit with those overwhelming feelings. When we aren't present in our healing, we are not allowing ourselves to open up to change because we are operating from the same place that got us there in the first place. The reason that we are in this state and the reason why I was feeling that way was because I was super unpresent in myself. I wasn't looking at my current situation. I was looking to the past and then using that to determine my future and literally planning out my future based on traumatic things that happened to me and just the way that I was viewing life. So if I was viewing my life in a more present way and I was allowing myself to open to presence, to heal, then it would have been easier for me to change because you have to become comfortable with that pain. If you don't sit down with that pain, you're going to constantly be running away from it. And that's exactly what I was doing, whether that was by drinking, by taking pills, by smoking, by eating a lot, whichever way it is that you decide to cope with the pain. If you do not put a name to that pain, then you cannot become familiar with it. I know like names don't define us or whatever, but it is the way that we've taught to operate. So we need to sometimes view it in a perspective that is going to be able to open our eyes to things, a perspective that is familiar. So when we aren't present for our healing and we allow ourselves to view our healing through the perspective that we are already in, it's not easy for us to heal because the healing will feel so overwhelming because your thoughts from the past are going to creep in and try to change your mind about where you're going. So then we give back into our thoughts and then we say how unworthy we are of healing. When we don't know what's bothering us or we don't know, when we can't put the name to it, it's going to constantly be a thought of, well, what am I supposed to do now, right? Or just the thought of naming it is so painful because of where this pain comes from. And, you know, when we do turn to substances and things to make us feel better, it's only temporary relief. And a lot of people, when they see others that do this kinds of stuff, they're like, look how lost they are. We aren't lost because we have addictions, okay? We aren't people that have just lost our way in life or whatever. We are people that are hurting. And the way that you might express your hurt is not the way that I express my hurt because maybe I wasn't taught to talk about my feelings, or maybe I wasn't taught how to let go. I was taught how to hold on to things. So when we don't get the proper support that we need, and a lot of people are not willing to support us, we turn to these self-destructive behaviors because we don't feel worthy enough of love. A lot of the times there are therapists that will turn you down because of just the type of personality that you have, and it came from a reason. When I finally decided to confront my pain and put a name to it, it was probably the most, I guess you could say bittersweet, but it was probably the most painful experience that I ever had in life and through everything that I dealt with, because I realized that the person causing me the most pain was myself, right? And it was just such a painful realization, but it was also super calming when I realized that I was able to change it just by changing the way that I thought about it and the way that I perceived it, right? It was no longer, this was such a painful experience and this is how my life should be. It was, I can choose how my life is gonna go and I can choose what I decide for it to be. And some of our biggest addictions is to that toxic thought because it does produce a kind of feeling of relief in a way. Like, I really don't deserve it, so I don't even have to try. And we stick into this toxicity in the way that we think about ourselves. And it does feel like a drug because we keep fueling this self-hatred. And anything can become an addiction. But you know, people think like substances are addictions or whatever. But no, even the simplest things like what we tell ourselves, that can become addictive. The behaviors that we do every day becomes addictive, right? So if we don't allow ourselves to be present in our pain, and we don't allow ourselves to be present in our healing, then we cannot be present in our lives. One of my goals in life is, and I hope I get there, is to create a space where children can learn these things from a young age so that they don't have to experience this feeling of feeling alone and feeling unsupported, because we don't teach kids the things that they actually need to grow. We teach them what, you know, society thinks that they need. And you know, even in school, I remember like they would teach me lessons from movies and stuff, but I would never take it to heart. Like I would never learn anything from these things, and I would constantly say like, but I didn't feel that, like that didn't pertain to me, because they only do it to a certain extent. But kids need certain ways to heal and certain ways to teach because of how they're brought up. Like you can't just do one thing for every kid and expect them to learn from it, you know what I mean? My final note is that healing can be very painful, and to feel this way can feel very overwhelming, especially when there's not enough support around this topic, or people make you feel bad for it. But just remember that this is your healing, like nobody else's. This is yours, and it's up to you to decide if you want to change it and go forward. But you need to be comfortable with allowing yourself to open up to it and to sit with how painful it can be. And when you can sit with how painful it can be, you start to realize, but painful with presence, you start to realize that what you thought was so overwhelming isn't overwhelming anymore. I really hope this helps someone, and it helps a bunch of people. I really hope. Let me know in the comments down below, and again, message me if you need me. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to spiral into the void with presence. And peace out, guys.